Once you've submitted a few patches and the developers have pushed things out, they're eventually going to want to, they're going to ask you to get commit access. So what that usually means is putting in a system admin's ticket to get you access to that, and they can give you instructions on what website to use. Once you get access to that, you actually need to set up your computer and change it a little bit to be able to push things out. So that's what we're going to go over. The first thing that we're going to need to do is I have a cheat sheet here kind of to help me along. We're gonna run this command. So this is going to create an SSH key for us that we're going to use to be able to push changes out. So if we just copy that here and paste it in there, and then from here we can just hit enter and then enter file in which to save it to, and that location's fine, so we can just hit enter again, enter passphrase. That kind of takes us to the end of it. Then from here we can go into our home directory, and if we show our hidden files, we're going to see a folder called .ssh. If we go in there, we're going to find there's two files. This is kind of the private file that's specific to our computer, and this is a public file. So I'm probably just going to drag this out here. We're going to have to upload this to a website. Next, we're going to add a empty config file. So we're just going to call this config, and notice that we are not using any extension for this. It's just config, like this. Oh, did I do it? Config, rename. Yeah, so it's like this. So now if you open this up, and we can change this here. So this is just changing the way our Git client does things, so it, I guess, is using SSH somehow. I don't really completely understand what this is doing, but I know this kind of helps switch our Git repository so it starts using SSH and allows us to do commits. So once you add this in there, you can just hit save. And then from here, the next step is we're going to upload our public file to our KDE account. So if we just open this up, and we'll just type identity.kde.org, and then we're going to type in our username, just how we log in, how we would log in with doing code reviews or whatever else. It's the same one. Logging in. This kind of tells you what you have access to, and then right kind of in this area right here we can do different things. So really once you get to this place, you can just do manage your SSH keys. It'll kind of show you what your SSH keys are here, and then you can upload your file. So just for that, when you upload, just upload this pub file right here for it. So I'm going to do that right now really quick, and then we'll come back. So I uploaded my public file to the identity site, and after we wait a couple minutes, we can check to make sure that we have access to it. If we open a terminal here, we can test it out. kde.org. Looks like it doesn't like my config file. Something tells me it has to do with how I maybe there's some weird maybe some spaces I put in it. There we go. So let's try to click yes. So we'll see if that worked. Usually the easiest way to do it is it kind of shows you all of the repositories and everything that's in KDE. But it looks like Krita, the only thing that we really care about is we get read and write access to it. So that pretty much confirms that we have access to the repository. Next, we need to change our Git source location a little bit so we can actually push things out. The one we set originally was a read-only access area, so we wouldn't be able to actually push changes out to the main repository. So for that, we're going to go to here, go to our source directory, and then we're going to use this git remote set URL. So what this is pretty much going to do is just set our where we point to. And notice how before we had HTTP and we had all of that other stuff, and now it kind of looks more internal. So we'll just do that, and you won't see anything, but we should be okay still. We can still see everything. Let's try to git pull. See, it looks like it's still connected to it. It grabs some stuff down, so it's still pointing to it. So at this point, you have access to the changes and the code base, and you can push out other changes that you want to.